It's Bluebird on your shoulder. We're back. It's the two of us. The third one probably coming. We're running a little bit late tonight. You can always count on the military guys to be late. So that's a thing. Another actually kind of different crazy week coming. Really hope he does jump in. I'm sure he's going to add some contrarian contention points to the conversation. Not really sure what to expect from you, and I definitely know you two aren't ready for what I have to say. So should be really exciting. And that I don't really think we can kick this episode off with anything other than the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I don't. I think that's one of the most major political events in the modern politics.
Yeah.
So to be assassinated for your words is to me a wild, ludicrous reality. Like I can't conceptualize living in a country that becomes okay or becomes standard operating procedure or like I can't celebrate it. I can't be happy about it. I think it's abhorrent. I think it's fucking lunacy. It definitely had a larger impact on me personally than I ever expected. I can vehemently say that I don't think Charlie ever said anything that I agree with. Anything. Other than the fact that I realized that he has the right to say it, and he has the right to think it, and he has the right to believe however he wants. And at the end of the day, outside of the fact that he had a platform and I really don't, we're not different. I strongly believe what I believe. I'm not hesitant to say it. I'm not hesitant to speak up for what I believe in, and to know that should I have a platform and should I be popular, I could be shot for that. I could be murdered for my thoughts. And that's I hate making historical correlations to things, but and I know that it's wild to like compare and contrast with like civil rights movements and so on and so forth. But I don't know what other comparisons there are, like outside of actual politicians. But he wasn't a politician, and that's why it leaves a very limited amount of comparatives where people were shot for what they believed in
Yeah.
In America. So, not in some third world country or some unstable geopolitical hellhole. And then I can't understand why people on the left are actually trying to push the fact that he was right wing, because he absolutely emphatically wasn't right wing. Like, yes, he was raised by a right wing family, raised in a religious family. Raised, his parents and his family are highly MAGA,
Yeah.
openly, but he dates a trans person.
Right.
There's no MAGA openly dating trans people, maybe privately on Grinder, but not openly. Like, and his friends all say he's the leftist. His boyfriend says he's the leftist. His or girlfriend, I don't really know where that is. Um, so why are prominent figures on the left trying to like we're not the stupid ones? So why are we playing pretend? Like, so it's really weird. It's like a whole paradigm shift has happened because of it. So now we have left wing figures trying to openly propagandize us and say he was right wing. He wasn't. You know what I'm saying? He was a nut job. And I think that's what it, and it does, don't necessarily think it actually reflects left policies, but there is a sect of the left. I tend to call them blue MAGA. They really don't like it when I do that. I think he fits in that sect where I think you're just as radical, extreme, and moronic as fucking deep MAGA, base MAGA. And there's like the middle.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us know what to do. So, like, one of the big points that I seriously contemplated leaving this podcast because I openly supporting a party who isn't directly responsible, but I openly saw more people celebrate it. Not There were people who were like, I don't have sympathy for him, but it shouldn't have happened. Okay, cool. I can grasp that. Like, I don't think you're right for that, but I can grasp that. You know what I'm saying? He had a family. His family was innocent. He had daughters. His daughters are absolutely innocent to his beliefs. This shooter, Robinson, he's prime example as to why they're innocent. Robinson was born in a completely right wing family, up brought right wing, da da da, and became an extreme leftist. Right. So his daughters could eventually become a leftist, right? An extreme leftist. Like that's actually really common. So I feel really bad for that. So I don't know how you can't sympathize for it. But as long as you agree that it's wrong and it shouldn't have happened, I can accept that. But there is a contingent that I would say maybe gets up to 20% of the left that's happy about it and
Yeah.
celebrated it and like rah it with pom poms. And I don't, it's been a very hard pathway for me to reconciliate openly coming here every week and supporting the party that would do that because I don't align with that in any way, shape, form. Or that's so far beyond my values. And I think it's so far beyond politics. Like I question your humanity at the point you do that.
Right.
Um, he deserved it is a wild fucking statement to me. No, he didn't. He deserved the taunting. He deserved the pushback. He deserved the debate. And that's what I think he really deserved, the debate.
Yeah.
And his views were extreme and wild, but he was open to debate anyone. And I think discourse is the basis of true democracy, right? Discourse and the ability to engage in discourse is fundamental to the functionality of our government, right? It's the opposite of the fascism. It's the opposite of authoritarianism, right? Like we didn't agree with him, but he did it democratically, very democratically. He was like the most sane one of them all. I always had respect for him. I never agreed with him, but I always had respect for him. I know Dean Withers was one of his biggest opponents. Disagreed with him functionally, like us, at every single level. However, he was
Yeah. Tears
live,
on camera.
right? Was live and cried
Yep.
because I think in that moment, like like Dean's a good guy. He's one of us. You know, he's a good one of. He's a good person. So I truly struggle openly supporting a group of people who would celebrate it because there's no way to do so and not be tied to them.
Yeah.
And that's like we rail against Republicans every week. Not all Republicans are MAGA. Me and you firmly agree with this. But
Absolutely.
if you're openly Republican in today's world, there's no way for me to not tie you to MAGA because that's who you're supporting.
Right. Right.
And so for
My
me to
had a
go,
couple of different views on it, and a couple have really bothered me. Um, One, like I made a post on Facebook, like this, and I said something similar back when the attempt happened on Trump. Like, you and I talked about this. Like, this is America. We don't kill or try to kill political opponents over politics. Like, we don't do that. Those are done in over other countries. We don't do that here. There's no place for that here. It is a human life. I actually watched a lot of videos on his channel because I found some of his takes very interesting. Not that I agreed with them, but they were interesting. Like he does make some good points if you can understand where he's coming from. Um, but he didn't deserve to die. Um, but this is something that bothers me a lot is at the end of the day, he was a YouTube influencer for the MAGA party. He was not any member of any level of politics office. Why are we using our tax dollars to fly him home on Air Force Two and lowering our flag and having this memorial at the Capitol and everything. But when Michigan lawmaker, her and her husband and their
Minnesota.
dog get murdered in their home, Governor Whitmer, nothing's said about it. There's no uproar about the umpteen hundred mass shootings or children that are killed the same day. Nothing is said. That's the part that bothers me is whenever those happened pre to this, it was, oh, we'll try to do better. We'll send our thoughts and prayers. Please pray for this. Please pray for their families. Yeah, absolutely do that. But at some point, take accountability that it's your laws or lack thereof regulations that essentially allowed this to happen. Your disdain for any change to the Second Amendment allowed this to happen on an open carry campus.
Oh, that wasn't a gun-free zone campus?
No, Utah is open carry everywhere.
Okay,
I saw an
interesting.
article about it and I looked it up, and the AI overview definitely validated that that is a open carry campus.
Okay, that's
Um,
fair. I
Still, I'm
will.
not saying that it's right, and it's not, and I didn't want it to happen. I wanted it to come out that it was some type of fake, thing or whatever, because I really, really feel like that this might be the thing that starts the tidal wave that cost us 26 and 28. Um,
Uh, Definitely right. So I'm gonna course correct you. You mixed up two things in your earlier statement. So Governor Whitmer of Michigan did have an assassination plot against her. That happened, and there was no outrage. But the lawmakers you were speaking of were from Minnesota.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
So
You're right. Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
from, yeah, they were from Minnesota. So both correct about both things, just kind of put them together. So definitely, I agree with you. I think this is absolutely has already become and will continue to be a galvanizing point.
Well, and I hate,
Um,
like, we said this before. I think maybe before we even started the podcast a year or so ago, something happened to where us on the left were, I'll just say complaining about that they on the right were using someone's death for their political gain, and that's also not right. That's to me just as wrong as killing someone because they disagree with you politically.
yeah, I do. One of the things he did do though, like he wasn't a politician who held office. That's true, but he did start Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
Which is a huge organization now on the right for evangelical voters.
Yep.
It actually re-energized the evangelical voter base quite a lot. And I absolutely think this will be a galvanizing point for a movement that was floundering
Yeah.
quite strongly. And that's what like I'm curious to learn more about Mr. Robinson, right? Tyler Robinson, I'm pretty sure is his name.
That is his name. Yes.
I'm interested because, like, were you smart? Because, like, at no point, like, I there's a theorem on the left where speaking out against marginalized groups is hate speech. And I think there's a degree in where that's true if those marginalized groups have been treated abhorrently historically. So
Fair.
like I don't think you can speak out against, like some of the comments he made were pretty wild. I don't know the context of the comments because of course the far left is pushing those comments out, but there's no context behind the comments.
Right.
And that's a MAGA. Like I don't know. Like I said, the paradigm is really weird. So we have MAGA calling people's employers and getting them fired over celebrating the Kirk murder, which is a very left cancel culture woke behavior.
Yeah. Now they want the First Amendment regulated.
Right. And now, yeah, Bondi coming out and saying that it's a wild
Jimmy
concept,
Kimmel just
right?
got canceled.
Yeah, I just saw that. He
You
just
know,
got
like
canned for it. So we
after
have that,
Trump
right?
raging the whole like freedom of speech, you know, I can say whatever I want to you got to watch even closer than before to what you say now.
Right. So yeah, no, it's wild, right? To see the right pivot to the left, right? You're becoming the left in this, but then the left is becoming the right by putting a bunch of clips out there with no context behind them, skewing things,
Yeah.
which is historically not something we do. And it's like one event has like completely twilight zoned the paradigm.
Yeah.
And it's not all, like I said, I think the bulk, right? The bulk of the middle is either the middle right, they're they're devastated and heartbroken and they're grieving. And
Yeah.
we have to respect that. You have to respect that grief. Like they cared about this person. And people are, well, they didn't know. And that's cool. I've cared about people I didn't know and they died. Like I didn't, I was really, really sad when Robin Williams died
Right.
because he was so influential in my life and his ways just through his movies and his comedy. You know, like he was super influential to me in those ways. And he was just an actor and a comedian. And I was super sad when he died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
And
I get it. You know, one my boyhood idol, I mean, as you know, died just a few weeks ago. I definitely shed some tears that day when Ryan Sandberg died.
mhm. I think we have to
So yeah, I get it.
give them grace, right? We have to give
Yeah.
them grace to grieve. And I think that's a very legitimate stance. And then there's the middle on the left who I think a lot are like me that are like, wait, what do I do here? Because like I don't agree with that. I vehemently don't agree with that. Like it violates my morals, it violates my values, it violates America, it violates everything I stand for. And like I said, I just in I ideologies we're very, very different. And principles, I don't think we were maybe at all that we're willing to stand up for it, you know. And I do believe there's a part of me who knows there was that he knew there was a chance and that he was willing to die for it. And before you did it, I think I would have been willing to die for it.
Right.
Now that that is the method of your resolve, I don't think I'm willing to die for that because I so vehemently disagree with that method of resolve. That's the most anti-American shit ever.
Yeah.
And so I've already disliked the ideologies of MAGA, not Republicans. I'm okay with the few ideological differences with the normal Republican. And I'm conservative actually in enough ways because I've always been a blue dog, damn, where I have a lot of conservative fiscal values, right? I'm just very socially liberal. Um, I could always with MAGA that it's I just can't handle the moron committee being in charge. Like that's the hard part for me. Speaking of which, did you see him openly state smart people don't like me?
It did. That was almost my headline tonight.
Okay,
He's
here's
right.
the part.
For once,
Okay,
you're absolutely correct.
he is right, but here's the wildest part to me. Here's where my brain went. He did it in a room full of his supporters,
Yeah.
who then laughed at it. Who so you don't realize he was calling you not smart, right? Because he said smart people don't like me in a room full of people who like him.
You know,
So,
it reminded me on when he years ago and somehow, some way, the video is no more. But I know that I sent it to my best friend years ago when he was running for his first term, when he was on a late night talk show and said if he ever ran for president, he would run as a Republican because they would be dumb enough to vote for him.
oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know if that's really real or not. You say you remember it. Cool. It could be the what
Yeah,
Mandela effect.
right.
No, bro,
Yeah,
because they've said like the Berenstein Bears, and then people find their books in their book chest. Like I have those books from a
yeah,
kid.
yeah, yeah.
They definitely say the other thing.
Right.
I have actually. I just cleaned out a bunch of stuff because of the move, and I had an old pair of Fruit of the Looms that definitely had the cornucopia on it, right? Like, so the Mandela effect
Yeah,
situation that could have definitely happened, right? Which I wonder what that psyop's really all about.
yeah, no doubt.
But I do. I do respect that part of it. It's just like, I mean, some of my closest friends are going to be mind blown when they listen to this, that you challenge the idea.
Yeah.
That's what I got into this podcast for.
Right.
To challenge the ideas, right? To challenge the ideas, to win the battle for hearts and minds, not to murder my
Not like this
opponent.
though.
No, not to
Yeah.
eviscerate my. I want to eviscerate my opponent intellectually. I want to, and that's the. I didn't agree with him, but he was intellectual. He was
Right.
intelligent. He spoke well. He. We just didn't agree, right? I think some
Right.
of his teams were buck wild crazy, but they were his to have.
Yep.
And I support that. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's a wild ride, and it's not going to get any crazier. And then I I did see Cash have to go because of his handling of it, like tweeting out we caught him and they didn't catch him, and now we're seeing the text messages. They're like, yeah, they caught some old dude and arrested him for it, and
Right.
like some other dude who was wearing similar clothing, and
Speaking of which, do you know that guy that was originally arrested, the old man, has now been rearrested for sex crimes?
dude, this is all weird. So there's a lot of conspiracy going on around it
No, it's real. It
too.
was on
No, I believe that. I believe
CBS
that part.
News. Like, yeah,
So no, I believe that part, but there's like Candace Owens has come out in the last couple of days and said that Charlie did, which there's no way to verify this, right? That Charlie has been having second thoughts about Israel. And he did make some statements on the Tucker Carlson a few days before it happened, where he knows that it's a genocide. Basically, he didn't use those words,
sure.
but he very much alluded to it. He very much questioned the first day, that October, what was it, October 19th or whatever. Um, I don't remember the day that the first, that where they attacked the Jewish state, Hamas attacked the Jewish state. And he basically said the entire country is the IDF, which is true. And then it takes 45 minutes from one side of Israel to the other because it's the size of Jersey.
Right.
And it took you 6 hours to respond to that. So he questioned whether there was openly a stand down order
Mm,
given, because how else would it be allowed to go on for 6 hours? Because the whole country is which is true, the whole country is the
sure.
idea. Like every citizen is required, not just males. All citizens are required to join the IDF for 6 years, I do believe it is.
Something like that.
And
Yeah.
then they all keep their weapons. So how did you let it go? I never thought about that. It's wild that Charlie Kirk's the person who in post mortem made me think about that, right? And so Candace is saying this was Israel because they knew he was influential enough that if he openly publicly started coming out, he could turn the right against Israel. And if the right turned against Israel, America would actually step in and do something about it. Because
Mm,
Trump is very what the people want, right? Because he does do that. If they tweet about it, he'll do it.
yeah.
That's definitely a thing. So maybe not, right? But Candace Owens, like openly the other day, like did not have this on my bingo card. Agreeing with Candace Owens, she said that the left is no longer her enemy, that she fell for ideology, and that we're falling for ideology. And the reality is that those aren't the people who are out to get us, that it's the powerful people, that it's people like I don't know why she's super anti-Israel. I haven't watched enough of her, but she's definitely alluding to it's Israel that controls us. And I do know they control American media and entertainment. That is factually true. 95% of the owners of American media and entertainment companies are Jewish.
Yeah.
And it's something like 98% of the world's bankers are Jewish. So they control the entertainment media and the money. I know it's conspiracy, and I'll say it's conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? I will. I'll say it's
Sure.
conspiracy, but I know enough about the world to know that
Where there's smoke, there's
me,
fire.
Media and money can control the world.
Yeah.
So, and you own both
Right.
at very vast levels, right? So, interesting concepts there. Uh, but I didn't have a green with Candace Owens on my bingo card. But that's kind of where I've fallen. Is like I'm kind of tired of the ideologies and the extremism and the extremist ideologies dominating the conversation on both sides now.
Yeah.
Um, and it's becoming harder and harder to support. So I'm in an area where it's very MAGA saturated,
Okay.
but not like base MAGA. Like I think most of these people are there are some base MAGA people here for sure, but I think most of these people are Republicans, lifetime Republicans, right? I'm from a more rural area. I live in a more rural area. We were at the football game last Friday, and definitely in the student section, there's 10 or 12 MAGA hats. You know what I'm saying? Like student section. So these are high school kids. But the parents and the dads, like we spend a lot of time together because we watch our kids play ball. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And these are good people. Like they're good people. They work hard. They have good jobs. They're not morons. They're not stupid people. They're kind. They give you shirt off their back. You know, we grew up. It's very
Right.
similar to the way we grew up, right? In the communities we grew up in.
Yep.
These aren't bad people, and the ideologies have ripped us so far apart that like I'm terrified they're going to find out and never speak to me again because the extremism is all they know. And I I'm not like that because I'm too intelligent to allow that to happen to me. So I always give them a fair shake because I don't really care because we're here to watch ball. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? We're here to watch ball and work hard and raise our families and provide. And we all have the same goals here. And I want to return, and I've always stated that on this podcast, a return to old school politics where, yeah, we disagree on 4 or 5 fundamental issues, but otherwise we pretty much agree across the board.
Yeah.
And I would really hope that we could have found a way to galvanize behind this and move that way. It's not going to happen because we have people celebrating it, and then the other side, the hardcore mega base, now wants war.
Right.
They like outright want civil war, and it's like you don't want civil war. Like you keep thinking you want civil war because for some reason you think it'll be a walk in the park and it won't be. And there's variant reasons why it won't be. Like, yeah, you have more military trained on your side. I believe that's true. However, I think a bulk of your side and the military trained faction of that are old. So if they are combat experienced, they're 40 plus. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're well, yeah, almost 40 plus across the board, like some late 30s, but so that means that their knees hurt too and in fact don't work right. And then the rest of your combat experience, they're 60 plus and they're overweight and they're poor. And they're what are you going to do? Because the left is very dominated by a younger group. And you know, you do have the current Gen Z male, but they're pre-18 still. And you put 14-year-olds in combat and they're not going to do as well as you think. And it,
I think even some of the combat people, I mean, they could have flashback and freeze.
Yeah, that could I can't speak to that, right? But that could
Right.
happen. But I do think overwhelmingly, what I know to be a fact is if full scale civil war broke out, a rough estimate just off my head, 60 to 70% of the population is going to die of starvation because the supply chains are going to break down and there's going to be
Right.
no food. And a majority of people do not know how to acquire food on their own. They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to grow things. They don't know how to, they're not going to be able to acquire
Fish.
food.
Well, I guess I'd be hunting, but yeah.
You're
They
right.
don't know
I
how to
can
start a
grow.
fire to cook
Right.
it.
I can grow. I might be on the left, but I have a lot of right qualities.
Right, right.
I can fix shit. I can work with my hands. And you know what I'm saying? I'm very alpha. I can hunt. I can grow things. I know how to
Yeah.
use a weapon. Like, but most people don't. And Do you really want 60 to 70% of the population to die of starvation? Because when you really break that down, now we're going to have the bulk of our women and children dying of starvation.
Yes.
And so effectively, we go into CW2, 50% die, non-combat related reasons. 20 more percent die combat related reasons. Now we're at 70% dead. There's 30% left. What's going to stop Russia or China from steamrolling us?
Nothing they would easily at that point.
They're going to easily steamroll us at that point, right?
Yeah.
And they want to, right? We're one of the most mineral and natural resource rich places on the planet. Why wouldn't? And so, for geopolitical reasons that wars are fought, why wouldn't you step in and fuck us up,
Oh yeah.
right? Like it's really a fucking stupid ass pathway to go.
Right.
Um, but I understand the grieving process, and anger is a part of that. And you're vehemently angry, and you're angry at a group of people who thought that words equal death. And
Right.
I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you being mad about it. I'm fucking mad about that. You know what I'm saying? And I know I have people who openly disagree with me that are close to me. And I'm like, um, you
Yeah.
good, bro? Like therapy's cheaper.
Right.
Like go to your fucking therapist and take a hard look at yourself that you think it's okay because he said things. He said things. Well, he said things that influence people. Okay, that's the people's fault. That's not his fault. I've had a lot
Right.
of people say things to me. Didn't change me.
Yep.
I didn't believe him, didn't buy into it, didn't, shit. Sometimes I hear myself and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But so,
Yeah.
like, because people were willing to believe him, that made him dangerous. That's kind of not his problem. You know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's a them problem, not a him problem. So I I just think everything that has come of this is bad. The fact that it happened is, like I said, it's inexcusable and abhorrent. And the fact that there's a sect that thinks it was like absolutely positively the right thing to do. Now, people have made the, well, if somebody would have dropped Hitler in 22 or 24 or 5, okay, he didn't have that kind of speech.
Right.
Like it wasn't he want didn't want trans people to be in sports.
He was
He didn't.
very, very like Bible based, um, and taking what Scripture says absolutely literal. Instead
Which
of
no,
just applying that thought to your everyday life is what it's kind of supposed to be, is like a guideline to life. Um, that was his biggest fault, I think, and that is because you don't, like you brought up the trans stuff, like the thinking of strictly by the Bible, then you can't allow science to come into play when past popes have admitted to evolution.
yeah,
That's his
evangelical
biggest
Christians
fault,
typically
really.
don't like Catholics either.
Well, yeah.
So, where not a lot of people like us, dude. No, I do agree with you, and I really wanted him to be here because I know it was going to get contentious, and I thought that would have been good. Because he sits farther outside the left than both of us, or farther
Yeah.
outside the middle to the left than both of us. I don't think he's an extremist per se, in any way, shape, or form, but he definitely sits farther on the left than me and you. I don't think he gets to that 20%, but he's much closer to being butted up against it than we are. I think if anything, this has pushed me farther to the right.
I
Um,
get that.
I wouldn't go to say that like I'm a conservative now.
Yeah, I just hate that it took this for all of the sudden for them to now be like it's one of those like, hey, you can't do this. Okay, but now this happened. So now we're going to say, the other because it's now convenient. It just, like I said, I don't want to politicize anyone's death to benefit from it, but it definitely comes off that way. The way how you said the paradigm is turned, like they are definitely doing that, and everything that we were saying prior to is now good for them because it benefits their narrative that they want to push now. Like they're riding that
Yeah,
wave, so to speak.
yeah, and I'll give you that they're the large influencers definitely have some politicization feel to it. Because they all say the same thing. Like the large left accounts do the same thing, but not the extreme left, just the left and the MAGA. Um,
Yeah.
talking points are definitely handed down. Either that or it's clout chasing, trend chasing. Like,
Yeah.
we buy the same Nikes because everyone in school is wearing them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I don't know which one it is, whether it's actually choreographed or it's just trend chasing. But like all the large right accounts call for war within 10 hours of his death. And what? But then all the left accounts, larger left accounts, are absolutely distancing themselves and talking about political violence is never the answer, and it shouldn't happen. And that, and I'm not a both sides argument per se, but it has historically happened both ways, and over the last 5 years. I think one thing that you hit on that definitely needs to be put out there stronger. We didn't spend enough time. Is I do wish, with my heart of hearts, that everybody was felt so strongly about the kids giving their life. For whatever reasons you want to, politics, amendments, rights, whatever you want to call it. The reality is that children have and are continuing to die at way beyond unacceptable clips, which the acceptable number is zero. So we're well past that number. And I think that like we went to school in a very different time. I was talking to a good friend of mine recently who's a bit younger than me by a decade or so, and we were discussing our children having lockdown drills and how fucking crazy it is. And
No, we
I
never
was
had
just,
those.
well, so I was
We had the
discussing
earthquake
that.
drills,
Yeah, which and then we had the
tornado drills, fire
tornado
drills. Like,
drills, and then
yeah,
we had the earthquake drills, which were actually nuclear bomb drills. And they didn't tell us, but
details.
getting under your desk would have saved us.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, but I was talking about how we didn't have lockdown drills, and this person's viewpoints were different than mine a little bit. I mean, both agree that it's fucked up and it shouldn't happen, and we need to do something about it. And but they did have lockdown drills because they were a decade behind me. So because Columbine happened our senior year.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like 99 graduates, right? Like it happened our senior year. And so
Yeah.
that was really what kicked off school shootings,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That was, yeah.
So we didn't have it. And to think like I've had to tell him like what's the lockdown drill like and what do they tell you to do? And like I know they try their best, but like full transparency, like I'm like, well, do you like know their drills? He's like, sometimes, and I was like, so like sometimes they just do it and you don't know, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, all right, like so with your teacher's pretty calm, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, so like if one of those happen and your teacher's not calm, I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of that room.
Right.
Like even though they want you to lock in and go hide in the closet or whatever they have you do, no.
Oh, so like a
You,
scary movie, they want you to go somewhere that doesn't have an exit.
Right, right. So no,
Right.
we're
Through
not
the
doing
window.
that. Like whatever it takes. Punch the teacher before they lock the door if that's as deep as it gets. And I need
Right.
you to do you know where the exit door is and every that's what I need you to know. Where's the closest exit door to every classroom you have?
Yeah.
And I need you
That's,
if that teacher panics, you get out of that room and you hit that exit and yeah, throw a desk through a window and go out that way. I don't care if you break your leg, like and the fire station's right there. Get there. Get to
yeah.
that fire station as fast as you can because do not lock yourself to become a fucking sardine in a fucking barrel.
Yeah. That brings up a really good point of something else I saw. Speaking of Charlie, he's getting it was an eye roll moment for me. Another one, I guess, is they're going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom for, you know, what happened, what he stood for. Why are we not giving the 10-year-old that laid over his friend's body so they didn't get shot the same?
Was that Uvalde, or was that the most recent
That
one?
no, that was the one in Colorado the night Charlie got shot.
So that was the most recent one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, that's true too, because that was pretty courageous, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was pretty courageous. Sadly, they have to,
Right.
and that's the weird part. Like, we're willing to sacrifice children in this country for something, right? I I don't know. I high powered rifles have no relevancy outside of a true civil war. That's where I can find them having relevancy, truly.
Right.
But against the American military, they have no relevancy. Um, Guerrilla warfare, sure, but up against drones or tanks or APCs or Bradleys, you know what I'm saying?
All the things that we can't
A10s,
get for a
right,
very good
right,
reason.
right. So if you could convince me that ARs are cool if I could buy a service steering missile. Like if I could put a SAM site in my backyard illegally, then you could convince me that it's yeah, I could have because if I had an AR or a high powered rifle, right? Um, Semi-automatic, could put a fully automatic switch in it. We won't get into that. But that's illegal, by the way. That is illegal. But if it went down, who's checking? But if I had a SAM site outside, then I could respect that argument, right? And
Right.
I would also need, um, Stinger missiles and anti-tank armaments, right? Like if I could own all of that, then you could convince me that I would be. But if I can't own any of that, then I can't defend myself against any military.
Right.
I could defend myself against individual soldiers, yes,
Yeah.
but not the apparatus of the military. You can defend yourself against it. My high power rifle is going to ting 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 off the Bradley and the
Yeah.
Humvee, and you know what I'm saying. It's just going to ting
Well,
ting
not to
ting
mention
all
you're
day
not really
long.
using the long arm guns for home defense anyway. Because what are you gonna do? Come around a corner with this big ass gun? That ain't gonna work. Use a handgun for home defense.
Correct.
Or, as my late dad said, God rest his soul, Dad, why? I asked him, why do you have this double barrel 12 gauge behind the couch? Because, son, if a break in happens, and typically robberies like that don't happen solo dolo, there's usually two or more. If I put a boom and then a 6 foot hole through the first guy, the second guy ain't coming in.
No, he's not. He's good.
So
He's
that's what you
passing.
use the long ones for.
Yeah,
If
he's passing.
right,
So for sure, I'm passing too.
yes,
But no,
get in that
yeah,
car and go home.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, it's just I don't agree with what happened to Charlie, and I hate what happened to kids regularly. Like we've already had what, like in school age, so high school and lower, there's already been like 17 or 20 school shootings, and a bulk of the country has only been in school for 3, 4 weeks.
Yeah, and what was it like 383?
So mass shootings gets really distorted now because
It
mass shootings
does.
are four or more. So any gang exchange in a major city ends up being classified as a mass shooting because 6 people get shot during it. You know what I'm saying? Like so
Or
there's a
Chicago 28 over the weekend.
yeah, so but you see what I'm saying? Like a
Yeah,
lot of mass. So
yeah,
just I saw this. It's just school age, so high school and lower, or maybe it includes college, but it did say school age.
okay,
Mass shootings are like we're at 17 or 20, and a bulk of schools have only been in school 3 to 4 weeks
right,
tops, and so we're at on the high end 20 in 4 weeks. So we're averaging 5 a week, and
yeah.
school lasts an average of like 36 weeks.
So I did see this and I looked it up. I don't think I shared it with you guys on purpose. because I wanted to bring it up because it fascinated me. Um, when Bill Clinton was in office, he put a ban on the quote unquote assault rifle type guns, the ARs, the SR-15s, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
When George W. Bush was in office and he had GOP of House and Senate majority, they let the ban expire. When the ban was on, school shootings dropped, or mass shootings, I guess you could say, because it wasn't just school. Mass shootings dropped like 40%, like right away. Um, when the ban happened up until the day Charlie Kirk got shot, it had increased 234%.
Because it's people like, yeah, they're not fully automatic, they're not military grade weapons, and the right likes to stick on that because the left doesn't understand weaponry as well. That's just the way that they're colloquially understood.
Right,
We use a lot of words in English that don't mean what they mean.
right,
A lot of them. We have a lot of colloquialisms in our language that everybody fully understands until they're trying to be nitpicky about a fucking argument. Um, so they don't understand they're not military grade. That's true. However, they are high capacity, high power.
right.
And they are semi-auto. You can one bullet pull or three bullet pull. And three bullet pull and a 30 round mag is 10 pulls in under 3 seconds.
Yeah,
So, it's 3 to 5 seconds. So your average shooter probably can't do that. So it's 7 to 10 seconds, but you're still letting off 30 rounds in 7 to 10 seconds. You don't really need to be accurate at that point. You
right,
don't need, and that's the kick, right? That's why they're so damn, you don't need to be super accurate when you can lay that much fire down from a weapon that's designed to shoot straight. They're rifled very differently. They're rifled to sprawl. So there's a lot of damage to be done by them because they're high powered. What was it? Virginia Tech 8 years ago, dude used handguns and was super efficient with them and took down quite a
oh,
lot. You remember
it
that
was
dude was,
Virginia Tech, because I remember
yeah.
you saying something about Wowie was way more accurate with the handguns than the guys are with
Yeah,
the
he was
semi-autos.
super efficient, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't have that level of proficiency with handguns. Proof of the pudding. Locally, there was a shooting last night. Two dudes got into an argument. Dude was 10 feet in front of the other dude, and he missed him
Jeez.
with a handgun. Missed him 10 feet in front of him, and he missed him and hit him innocent and killed him. Right, 10 feet, and you missed.
That's pretty bad.
That's what I'm saying. Handguns, you have to have some level of proficiency with them to hit your target. You know what I'm saying? So especially if you're using a gun
Yeah.
that you can't control well, like trying to use full size handguns when you're not my size, it's difficult. Unless you're very
Right.
experienced and you put a lot of rounds through those chambers. You know what I'm saying? So
People
you've got.
underestimate the kickback of them handguns.
Right, right, because it's a very powerful weapon, but in a
Yeah.
very small package.
Small.
So you have to be proficient with them for them to truly be deadly. Like a level of proficiency. If you're not proficient, you most likely will not mortally wound or even hit your target. Now,
Right.
at 10 feet, you probably should, but at 30 or 50 feet, you won't.
Right. Right.
But with an AR, you can
Yeah.
because you're just
Right.
one or two of them are going to hit,
Yeah.
and they're so high powered that they're going to do, even if it's not a mortal wound on initial impact, like a kill shot, right? An artery, a vein, a major organ. It will do so much damage that if you do not get medical attention within 15, 20 minutes,
It will
you'll
bleed
probably
out.
still die from the wound.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like they're extremely effective at killing because surprise, that's what they're built for.
Right.
They're built. They're just like, yes. There's some people do hunt with ARs. They're hunting elk and moose, and they're single shotting it, and they're proficient. And you would still be better off with a 30 out, but you're not hunting a fucking deer with an AR. Maybe some dude out there is a hunter and he does do it. And, okay, cool, whatever, live your life. But your average hunter is not hunting a deer with it
Correct.
because you wouldn't want to destroy that much meat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You would use, unless you're using an AR that's loaded with a 223. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying? Then I can understand it using for hunting reasons, but the ARs that are shooting up schools aren't 223s. You know what I'm saying? That's not what they're using. They're using weapons that were designed to kill humans. So, and children have easy access to them. You be 18 in any 32 of the states, I think now, 32 or 33. You walk in and buy one with a license. You can't
That's
even
nuts.
drink, bro. You can't even drink, but you walk in and buy an AR. You know what I'm saying? Or all of the different versions of AR, SKS, right?
Yeah.
AK-47, AK-47 replica,
Sure.
AK-47 platform based.
Yeah.
So M4,
SR-15s. Like,
right?
yeah.
Like, well, an AR-15 is very M4A platform based, right? Like, no, it's not an M4A. It's not. So, but you don't, that's the kick. You do not have to be proficient to be effective.
Right.
With a handgun, you must have a level of proficiency to be effective. If you can't hit a can at 10 yards, you're probably not going to kill a lot of people.
Correct.
With an AR, you can desecrate a can at 10 yards. It may take you the entire 30 round clip to do it. But eventually, if you point in that general direction and let them all go, one of them's going to hit
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Or you're going to destroy the board you have it sitting on with all of your misses, and it's going to clip the board in half, which would be my legs.
Yes.
Now I don't have a leg. I mean, look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Three shots, no aim. No aim. Three shots, no aim. Two dead and one amputated.
Funny how that idolized him. Now they want to, like you said, the script is flipped.
It's dude, the paradigm is completely different, and it's really really weird.
It's
But
it's sad that it
I
took
only
one of
brought.
their own to realize it.
I just think it's sad in general, and I really wish
Yes.
it would bring us all closer to the middle and realize that something is tragically and terribly wrong. And I mean, I put it on Facebook the other day. If we don't open our hearts and minds to each other again, where America ends up, it's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for our children, our families, your families, our future generations will be gone before it becomes absolutely terrible. But your direct descendantry or second or third generation from now will never know the country you knew. Will never know freedom. May probably won't even be American.
Yeah.
It'll be something that they learn about being the evil of the world because China owns us now because they waited till we fought each other. So, but yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. He never showed. He's no show on us, so he has to pay us each $50. So, but yeah, I wish it did. And I would just reiterate that if you celebrate it or support it, you really need to take a hard look at yourself. And if you feel personally attacked by him, and that's what causes you to celebrate or support it, he's not the first or the last who doesn't like you. So what are you gonna do about that? Shit, three-quarters of the people I met in my life don't fucking like me. Oh
Amen.
well. Oh well. There's what, 9 billion people on the planet?
Right.
8 billion, 6 billion, lots. There's lots of fucking people. Somebody's gonna like me. I don't care who doesn't. So, but yeah, until then, until next week, it's Bluebird on your shoulder. We'll be back and we'll see you. Rest in peace, Charlie, and to his family. Definitely sorry that happened. And I hope that the assholes don't show your daughters the video, but unfortunately, I know they're going to.
Yeah.
So, and we're out.